The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Cara Kurtz and I am the Business Development Coordinator at ASTA, and I will be the organizer for today's presentation. We're happy to welcome today's presenters, ASTA's very own Jennifer Whitney and Robert Douglin. Jen is our Director of Marketing Programs, while Bob is our Vice President of International Membership and Expansion. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us via the web. We will be answering your questions at the end of this presentation. To ask a question, you will be using your GoToWebinar pane. Near the bottom of this pane, there's an area that says Questions. If you click on the arrow next to where it says Questions, it will open up a window pane, and this is what you will be using to communicate with me today. If you're having trouble hearing the presentation, please make sure that your speakers are turned all the way up. If you've called in, try hanging up and dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issues via the questions pane, and I will try my best to answer them, and I will be responding via the same pane. Please note that all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from you all, but with so many people on the call today, background noise would prove to be prohibitive, and we want to ensure that everyone can hear the entire presentation. Finally, please note that this will be recorded and will be available for your on-demand viewing at asta.org by early next week. Now, without further ado, let's get started, and it's my pleasure to introduce my colleagues.
Hello, thank you very much, Cara. This is Bob Douglin. How is everybody today? And I've got Jen Whitney with me online. Say hello, Jen.
Hello, everyone.
Jen and I just got back, as a matter of fact, from Rhodes. We spent the last couple of days there, and we also were in Israel working on our Destination Expo, and more on that later. But we're really excited to bring you what we found in Rhodes and give you some more information. So, Jen, if we want to move on to the next slide here. And thank you Jen did this, I think, on the plane back, and, you know, she's literally just catching up now. So, Jen, great job with this. And the International Showcase, and Jen, please feel free to interject, is really going to give you the opportunity to immerse yourself as a Rhodian and enjoy many of the sightseeing tours, learn Rhodes, as everything we do with ASTA and the Small Business Network, formerly NACDA. You know, you're connecting and you're meeting not only with local suppliers, but you're networking with your friends and your fellow travel advisors. And you're going to have the opportunity to experience not only Rhodes, or Rhodos as it's called in Greece, but other parts of Greece through the FAMs and even on to Egypt. So we move on to the next one here.
I also want to make sure that we kind of express too, so if some people on the call may have actually either heard or been on attended our ASTA Destination Expo last year in Athens, Greece. So while the program that you're going to see looks similar to a Destination Expo, it's actually a little bit of a smaller scale, and it's an extension from that. That's why we call it the International Showcase. So just if you've been to the Destination Expo last year, do know this is going to be a completely different kind of environment where we're really focusing on the destination. So you learn a little bit more about other parts of Greece.
Okay, great. Okay, and then, you know, let's take a little bit more about Rhodes. And Jen, I'm glad you added that little bit at the bottom that the South Aegean region is the European region of gastronomy for 2019. And certainly those that have traveled to Greece or been to Greece know that that's absolutely incredible, because the food really is good. Now, if you see on the map on the lower right-hand side in aqua, you can see the island of Rhodes is in the extreme southeast corner. And the South Aegean region pretty much makes up, you know, what fits into that southeast corner. It's everything from Mykonos and Santorini up closer to Athens, going all the way down toward the southeast and the Cyclades and the Dodecanese Islands. And to give you an idea of the kind of greeting that you're going to get and how important this is, you know, Jen's tour guide, when she was in Rhodes, was the vice governor of the region. That's like the lieutenant governor of the state. And on Saturday, we had the opportunity, we stopped by the what would be the state capitol building in essence, and we had the opportunity to meet the governor, who was about as down to earth and pretty cool a guy as you'd want to meet. And they made it very clear they want to work with Americans, they want to show us around, they really want to get involved. So this is not just any kind of a FAM or a destination program, but this is something from the top down in their government that they think is very important. And, you know, Rhodes is the largest of the 12 Dodecanese islands in that southeastern corner. And you see some of the other islands that are part of that as well. And Rhodes itself, and Jen, you can definitely tell this story. It's amazingly preserved medieval town. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and we're looking at having a welcome dinner or a welcome reception at the Master's Palace, and it's absolutely spectacular. Jen, is there something you want to add to that? I know you were pretty blown away with it.
Yeah, I think just my experience is the first time I had experienced and visited Rhodes, and I think just me, myself, probably very similar to a lot of your clients, didn't really know much about the island prior to visiting, and going there and seeing the pictures and being part of the experience, you're really, you know, there's so much different and diversity as far as what you can do there. You can, you know, rock the beaches, the beautiful pristine beaches. You can, you know, go to the Acropolis of Lindos, which we'll go and have some pictures for you as well, and then really walk the streets of history. I mean, you're walking through this medieval town, which to me is just an awe-inspiring experience. So I know we'll go ahead and go more into that, but it's, to me, was a remarkable destination, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, let's move on to our next slide here. And you know, there's snowing in Washington, as you may know today, and I'm located in Fort Lauderdale, so I apologize. All three of us are working out of different locations. And Jen, these are some photos I think that you took last week. Do you want to kind of talk about those?
Yeah, of course. So this is, as mentioned, the medieval city that is really right in the middle of the island. And this, as mentioned, is a very well preserved medieval city. You can actually see the cobblestone streets, the gated areas, the columns, and it's just a really cool experience. It's so preserved that actually during the off season, which we actually visited during the off season, is they will take such good care of everything in this little area. They make sure to that all the cobblestone streets are walkable. It's very clean, and they just make sure that everything's renovated. So when the cruise ship starts coming back in the summertime, and they have those visitors that are coming in, it's a once in a lifetime experience. And then also too, this is as mentioned from Marietta, the vice governor, that was our tour guide. What I thought was very interesting is that this is an active medieval city. So there's about 6,000 people that live just within the city. And that, to me, it was very interesting. You go to places and you see castles and palaces, but you're more so just touring through them. Where this one, you're actually living through it, and I thought it was a very cool experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Jen says, that's just within the walled area, not the city in total. So it's pretty amazing. And those of you that may have gone like I have in the summer before, when you're there with cruises, and I look at that photo that Jen has kind of right in the middle toward the top with that street you see in the distance. I've been down that street shoulder to shoulder with like 10,000 of my best friends, you know, that came off from a cruise. And it was amazing to see this beautiful city, and there were just a few of us in there. You know, it was mostly the residents and a couple of cats and Jen and I.
Well, yeah.
That's kind of cool. Jen, you want to move on to the next slide?
Yeah, definitely.
On that? And well, and again, you took these photos, Jen. Let me, you know, these are pretty cool. Why don't you talk about them?
Sure. So the reason too, to give you a background as to why we're showing you these, is that these are part of the sightseeing tours that are included in your event registration. So you will have the opportunity to go to these places. Lindos is a small village that is about 60 minutes away from the coastline of Rhodes or the hotels, which we'll be staying at. And as you can see just through the pictures, I mean, pictures don't always do a place justice, but you can see just how beautiful this is. You have the Acropolis that you'll walk up, I don't know the exact amount of stairs, but I walked it and it was not an issue for me. And when you get to the top, you have these amazing views of looking down at Rhodes. And then to the bottom here with the white buildings, you can see the beautiful village that you basically just walked through. And, you know, I wanted to also let you know that we talk to our partners, and if yourself or if you have clients that are unable to accessibly walk through the stairs, you can still go and walk through the village. The village itself is kind of an extension of what you'll see through the medieval town, but a little bit more focused on the Lindian village, if you will. And within that, the many different restaurants and stores, great places to grab coffee and ice cream. So again, something for your clients that is just something that you can't really put into words.
Yeah, it's really pretty cool. And, you know, Jen is the young, active type that climbed up the hill. I'm kind of the guy in that corner square having the beer or the coffee. So but I can relate to that. And it really is pretty awesome. You know, really with these photos, what you see is what you get. Jen took all these photos herself. So,
Yes.
you know, this is not Chamber of Commerce stuff.
Yeah.
So Jen, if we want to move on to the next slide here. Yeah. And here, let's share our event program with you. And, you know, before we do that, I'm just so excited with the photos. I look at that one on the right, and again, Jen took that. You know, when we met with the governor on Saturday, you know, we had a request in through the tourism ministry there to have our welcome dinner somewhere within the palace. This is where the vice governor had recommended where that photo is. Now, can you imagine that, you know, with music and tables and food? And there's, you know, plenty of room in these back arches if there's inclement weather. Could you imagine that for our welcome reception? How cool is that? And then we have our pre-FAMs, May 6th to 12th, and there's a variety of those we'll talk about. On the 12th, come on in. We have our opening reception and our dinner. Then Monday, we'll have the opening ceremony, the tour of medieval city of Rhodes, education session, off-site dinner. You know, these are kind of subject to change, and one of the things that they impressed upon us in Greece is not only do they want you to have the tour of the medieval city, but they want to give you a lot of free time to explore. And then, you know, we kind of meet up there somewhere and do something special. So it's really kind of a cool opportunity. Then we're going to give you the following day, we have some ed sessions and B2B meetings with local suppliers, which I think is very important because you're going to be meeting the people with whom you'd be working for your clients. We're looking at doing some off-site lunches at a lot of the various hotels and resorts in the area, an evening event, maybe some time to spend in the city. Then the next day, as Jen shared with us, those beautiful photos on Lindos. We'll have a chance to go out there, again, another evening event. Then on the 16th, you'll have your transfers out for the FAMs or continue back to Athens, or, you know, there's extra hotel nights. You can stay in Rhodes and explore this island. And we have our post-educational journeys as well. So it's really going to be an exciting few days, very in-depth, very immersive, and it's really going to be a lot of fun. And there's going to be about 100, 150 of us, so it's going to be a good-sized, you know, congenial group, I think, as well. And Jen, am I leaving anything out?
No, I think the last statement that you said really is great to kind of showcase that as well, to let you know that it's going to be more of an intimate event, if you will, versus a big conference or expo. So this is an amazing time for you to go and educate yourself so that you can take that back to your clients. And the Greeks and their hospitality is uncomparable for sure. So
yeah. And, you know, one of the things we don't have on here, and Jen, I really haven't updated you because it's been such a crazy day with both of us catching up. We will have some airline discounts for you. They'll be up on the site. I should have something, Jen, for United and the Star Alliance carriers within the next day or so. So you'll see that. We're also working with Turkish. Now, keep in mind, when you are booking your flights, you've got to go through Athens to get to Rhodes. If you are on certain carriers like Lufthansa, you might be able to go from Frankfurt or Munich to Rhodes as well. But if you're on Turkish or coming in on Emirates, you'll come into Athens, and then you can easily transfer. There's flights about once an hour, and to, all of about $99 for that very short 45-minute domestic flight.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to head on to the next. Oh, go ahead, Jen. Oh.
Yep. Perfect.
Oh. And Jen, you want to talk about the rates and what they include and the early bird?
Of course. So our early bird actually ends next Thursday, February 28th. And so after this date, starting on 3/1, my dates are all confused. As you can tell, jet lag is setting in. Our early bird actually ends on the 1st, which is next Friday. And then starting on Saturday the 2nd, our prices will increase to by $100. And what I really want to make note is, if you're not an ASTA member, that's okay. We still want you to come and join us. There will just be a fee of $199, which will include a first-year membership to ASTA. So not only are you going to get access to being part of this event, but you will also have access to a year-long of educational resources to help you navigate new destinations for your clients. Now, the reason why with these costs, I want to go into a little bit more detail of what's included. So I think this is extremely important to showcase as well, because this is a little bit different than some of our events that we've done in the past. So one thing is our round trip air transfers, as Bob mentioned, that's to and from the Rhodes Airport to the event hotel of Rhodes Palace. Also within that, to help you with your travels, we found it to be a little bit easier if we go ahead and include those room nights for you. So the 4 room nights that will be checking in May 12th and checking out May 16th. And that's going to be at the Rhodes Palace Hotel, which also includes breakfast. Do note that there is a €4 tax per night, which is paid upon check-in. And that will be something that our attendees are responsible for. Of course, you'll have the guided tours of the city of Rhodes as well as Lindos, those special receptions that Bob had mentioned at the Grand Palace, and some of our other hotels that are in and around the island of Rhodes. All education sessions and meetings with our local suppliers. Most meals, and I say most meals because if you look at our agenda, we do provide lunch for every day as well as our evening events, unless it's not noted on the agenda. And then, of course, you have the opportunity to do these educational journeys that we have for an additional fee, which is really great because you get to experience other areas at a small cost to increase your destination experience as well.
Yeah, it's really great. There's a lot that's included. Those of you that have been to our ASTA International events in the past, know what's there and know, that a lot of what we have, like that reception or dinner at the Grand Palace, you can't buy at any price anywhere. So they're really, really special opportunities. And then, we're going to be at the beautiful Rhodes Palace Hotel. Jen and I just had the opportunity to tour that, and it's kind of interesting to go to a 700-room hotel when it's closed for the season and there's nobody there. So Jen was saying she was going to move into the spa until May, and I think I'm going into the presidential suite. But one of the things that we got the chance to see is most of the rooms have recently been renovated. We don't have the pictures here to show you, but Jen, those were really nice contemporary rooms. The majority of the rooms that we do have are mountain view. And if you're looking at the photo of the hotel kind of in the center, you're looking from the mountain into the hotel. So no matter which way you look, they're pretty cool views. And the hotel has loaded with bars and restaurants. It's just across the road from the beach. And I think Jen found a nightclub she liked owned by Lindsay Lohan across the street. So we know where Jen's going to be once the sun sets.
Hey, why not? Why not continue the party?
Yeah, exactly. And, on the lower right, that's a picture of the breakfast room. And the thing that's really cool about the hotel is, they've anticipated well in advance that everybody wants to have breakfast at one time. So it's an immense room with multiple buffets there. So they're really set up for it. And one of the things you may not see, if you look in that photo of the hotel, you can see to the left there's a glass dome there, and that's one of the indoor pools. And then, thank you, Jen. Then there's also 3 outdoor pools there as well. And Jen, I know I must be forgetting something. Can you think of anything else with the hotel?
I think You nailed it pretty on the head there. I think just to see how expansive and big this resort is, it truly is a resort. So, you know, it's one of those things that if you have clients that are wanting to stay in a central location where they don't feel like they have to walk miles to find a restaurant, that's certainly not the case here. I think that anybody who attends this event will be very, very excited to be staying at this hotel and experience, you know, the day to night that the hotel offers.
Yeah, for sure. And we even found a little supermarket right next door. So, you know, it's really convenient. You don't need to pick up any items. And the hotel's about halfway between the airport and the city, the old city. So it's easy, it's fast to get to, and of course your transfers are going to be included anyhow. So that's all good there. Mm-hmm. So Jen, we can't think of anything else with the hotel. What do we have on the next slide?
We are going to be talking about our educational journeys.
Yeah, these are educational journeys, our fam trips are going to some pretty interesting places. Once again, we're working with Celestial Cruises on 3, 4, and 7-day pre and post. Celestial, for those of you that have been in the industry for a while, they were also known as Lewis Cruise Lines. They did a really awesome job for us last year for the Athens Destination Expo. We had the president of the cruise line with us. They did dinners every night just for our group and lots of extra special things. We have pre and post in Athens that'll link up with that cruise in case the dates don't jive. Something really special that we have is a trip to Cairo and the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx, as well as an optional pre and post Nile cruise there. So you're so close by and the prices are good, and Egypt seems to be a very safe destination again, so it'll be a great opportunity. Then a couple of fun things that we're going to do. You have the option to go to the island of Chios. Chios is also out in the Aegean. It's the home of mastika, the mastic trees, which is famous for liqueur, and also mastic glue, if you're familiar with that. Just a charming island. And then everybody's favorite, Santorini. So you'll have the opportunity to go there as well. Jen, do you want to add on anything as well?
I think I would just mention, you know, some of the Athens day and tours pre and post, just to make mention of that. Like, this is more of an extension if you have flights that are going to be difficult for you to get in and out at a specific time that you need to. Those are probably going to be your best bet. I mean, why not? If you're in the Athens area, why not, you know, pay to have a room as well as a tour. Some of those Athens tours include a very popular tour that we did during the Destination Expo, which was an evening food tour through Athens, as well as a full day excursion where you, I guess it was like a big boat, and it went to like various different islands, like Hydra and Aegean and some other destinations in there too. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Pretty great options and opportunities, and you know, also a place where people very much feel welcomed and they love America. So Jen, do we want to? Oh, and all of these are up on the website now.
Yes.
So you can go to asta.org, click under calendars or events, find it. You can look at the cost and go ahead and register for these.
I do want to mention that our registration deadline was February 10th. And we had to do this only because of it being a high season and busy season for Greece. But these are still open for registration. So you can go online and register and then just wait for confirmation from us that we have a spot available for you, and you'll hear from us within 2 business days.
Excellent. Thanks, Jen. And we're ready for the next slide, I think.
Yeah.
Now let's take a look. What are ASTA members saying? And these are quotes from what we did last year. Is, you know, there's so much more energy in the tourism sector of Greece than we've seen for years, and the destination is emerging as a new hotspot for global travelers. And tourism numbers are higher in Greece than they've ever been before. You know, they've had a rough period of 10 or so years there, and the economy has recovered for the most part. Tourism is what's driving the economy. You can see there's a couple of photos there from last year, and then that bottom photo on the lower right, the 2 people on the left are the ambassador the U.S. ambassador to Greece, Jeffrey Pyatt, and his wife. And they took quite a bit of time last year with us toward the expo event. The ambassador is a pretty cool guy. He's down to earth. He and his wife are involved. They travel all over the country, and I know they're happy to welcome Greece back. And some other things the folks have said that participated were the vendors and the people were so gracious and warm. I'm in love with Greece. I don't know if that's my quote or not, because I kind of feel the same way. And, the last quote, even though we may work with tour companies in the U.S., gaining knowledge of what local providers can offer make a world of difference. We know who to contact, the specialty, and the quality of services they offer, so we can add special touches to customers' trips, matching interest, and delivering more assured satisfaction. And it is a winning combination because you are meeting the suppliers. And even if you're working with a national tour company, and there's a lot of great ones out there, they're just contracting with these local suppliers anyhow. And, I've had the opportunity to kind of learn who's using who. So even if you're booking, through a major national supplier, you're going to be connecting up with one of these local folks. And it's good to know, and it's good to know who the hotel sales managers are. So if you got a client going somewhere, they'll make sure that maybe they get a little upgraded room, or they get a bottle of wine or something that comes directly from you. So these are such great experiences. And Jen, you're our director of marketing, and I think you know the value of this better than anyone.
Yes, exactly. I think, just taking a look, and this is of course feedback that we had from testimonials, but even talking to some of our past attendees, the reason why we did this event is because Greece really just wants to roll out the red carpet for us. The importance of bringing in more U.S. visitors is one of something that's extremely important to them. So they're willing to work with us, and I think the testimonials themselves really speak for that.
Yeah, it really is. And when we look at these photos here, I'll start with that one at the bottom. If you take a look at the folks that are in there, we've got a gentleman who's been an ASTA member forever and a hotel owner on the left. Then Jen after that. Next to Jen is the governor. We'll forget about the fat guy in the orange. The lady to the right of that road sign, she's the vice governor. She's over in the United States a lot. Those of you that were in Miami for Miami to see, she was there. Next gentleman is Lissandro Stolidis. He is the president of Fed Hata. In essence, a similar position of what Zane holds here at ASTA as president of ASTA. And then we have another gentleman we work with from the South Aegean Tourism District. Jen and I were in Israel doing a site inspection just prior at the Israel Mediterranean Travel Mart. And Jen, when we walked in there, and there was a Greece display there, I think Jen and I felt like we were in Cheers, because all of a sudden there's a tourism minister, the lady on the right-hand photo, she's calling over to us, hey, Bob, hey, Jen. It's like, oh, wow. This is a lady who recognized the importance of ASTA, knows who we are, and knows who ASTA is. So, these are very, very important partners. The gentleman on the left, you may have heard the name Byron and the sunglasses. He's kind of the godfather of Greek tourism. He was a former ASTA governor when we had those in Europe. He's been putting this together. The other gentleman to the right of the word friends is George Palioris. He is president of our ASTA chapter and a tour operator in Greece. And the gentleman at the very top in between Lissandros and myself, and that third picture on the right, that's the mayor of Athens. So these are all people, in high places in Greece who recognize the importance of ASTA, which I think is pretty darn cool. And, of course, gentlemen on the far right, that's our president and CEO, Zane Kirby. And Zane also is well loved and respected in Greece for who he is and what he does. So, Jen, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add on this photo. We want to thank our sponsors, the government of the Aegean Islands, the Greek National Tourist Association, our good friends from Fed Hata, the Trade Association, and the beautiful Rhodes Palace Hotel. So, in with that, Cara, do we have anybody that has any questions for us? We want to make sure we answer anything that's out there.
I have a few questions, Bob.
Fire away.
Is the €4 tax per night or per person or per room?
That is per room, per night, and that is mandated by the Greek government. There are a lot of taxes like that in Europe now. Italy has something similar as well, and that needs to be collected on site.
All right. And it looks like our next question is going to be, once you arrive in Rhodes from Athens, are there included transfers?
Yes. Transfers will be included. We'll be collecting the flight information, and you will be getting your transfers both to and from the airport.
All right, guys. And it looks like you had such an informative webinar. It looks like our questions have actually stopped coming in. We'll go ahead and give everyone a few more seconds just in case they were typing. All right.
And if not,
Doesn't look like anything else has come in.
All right, great. Well, my email is bob@asta.org. Please feel free to contact me. Jen is jwhitney@asta.org. And I hope that we see you all in Rhodes. It's going to be amazing.
It is. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Everyone, as I had mentioned, this webinar was recorded, so if you would like to listen to this presentation again, it will be available for ASTA members on asta.org by early next week. Please be sure to join us for our next glimpse on Wednesday, March 20th. With that, this concludes our presentation for today. Thank you so much, Bob and Jen, and to all of you for joining us this afternoon. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye.